Hello, everyone. This is Angela, and you're listening to Homeschool Unrefined, the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun.
And this is Maren. You've got episode 121, What's Saving Our Homeschool, and Personalities Myers-Briggs. We're going to talk about all of that in just a few minutes, but first, we just want to welcome you and say hi. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for showing up every week, or if this is one of your first weeks, thanks for being here, and we hope you really enjoy this conversation that we're going to have today.
Yes, and a special hello to our Patreon supporters. And we actually have a new patron to recognize this week, Amanda. Welcome, Amanda.
Yay.
And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter and getting extra episodes and a community of people, you can go to Homeschool Unrefined. Actually, you can go to patreon.com/homeschool unrefined.
Although you'll find some links in our website too. So
yeah, you could find it there too.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. And also just a little bit about our podcast. We are here to change the conversation about homeschool, to take things maybe even off your plate compared to what a lot of people do, which is here are more things you can do. Do this, try this, add more things. We want to be here to be like, you know what? You are doing great just where you are. And maybe even less is better. And we want you to feel good about what you're doing right now today.
Right. You know, you are the parent and the homeschool parent that your child needs, and you are the best person for that. And so feel good about that, and know that it's okay to think a little bit differently about homeschool, and it's okay to homeschool to your strengths. And so those are kind of most of the things the themes that we talk about on this podcast.
Exactly. And it's kind of self-talk too, because that's why we started this podcast, so we could hear it ourselves. Right. We need to hear it too. So we're telling ourselves this as much as we're telling you.
For sure. For sure. One way that you can support our podcast for free is to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Believe it or not, this helps tremendously in getting new people to find us. Would you consider doing this if you haven't done so already? If you search us in the Apple Podcasts app, you can find a way to do it there. This will work on any device, an iPhone, iPad, iPod, any of those devices. It'll be easy on those to rate and review us. And if you've already done that, thank you. We have so many of you who have given us a rating or review, and we appreciate it so much.
It's really a big deal. We appreciate that so much.
Definitely.
Yeah. So anyway.
So Maren, I know everybody is curious because you're traveling, and a lot of us are following along to see like where you are this year and what your family is up to right now. So do you want to give us a little update?
Little update. Yes, we took about 8 days to drive from Minnesota out to the West Coast. We're now in Seattle.
Yeah.
And so, we spent some time in Yellowstone, which was amazing. Oh my goodness. I was there when I was a very little girl, very, very little, and I don't remember really any of it. And it is, oh my goodness. I was not high on my list of things on this trip, but it's now like it's a highlight, huge highlight.
You know, you don't hear much Yellowstone talk lately, or I don't.
No.
I know it's like the most popular national park probably in the U.S.,
maybe.
But I don't hear of too many people going there and loving it.
I know.
Recently.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But it is breathtaking around every single corner. And the thing is, it's great for families because you don't have to do huge hikes to get you get a lot of bang for your buck, just like pulling off the side of the road and taking a little walk, and you're like, oh my gosh, just everywhere. So that was really, really awesome.
Did you stay overnight there?
We stayed right outside of Yellowstone in West Yellowstone, which is actually in Montana. It's a little town, and it's right at the entrance of one of the entrances of West Yellowstone. So it was, super easy to get to. Oh my goodness. So
great.
I highly recommend it. Yeah. So, and now we're in Seattle and we're kind of settling in, and it's been great. It's, this is so different than anywhere we've been so far because, our last longest trip was New York City. This is like a world away from New York City.
Well, it's a city. It's a city. You're in a city, but
we're in a city.
And there's a lot to do, but you're like taking it easier.
For sure. And it's just, I mean, I think New York just calls you, there's like something to do around every single corner. Where there's like living, like everybody's living amongst all of the activity. Whereas I think that's so unique compared to probably even most cities where like Seattle, where it's like, this is a community of people who live, and then you go to do the things and then you go back to your home. So it's different. And it feels, it's a lot more relaxing. I have to say, I love New York. I would live there. I love it. But this is great too. It's a nice change.
Yeah. So
for sure.
What I know you've only been there like maybe a week, probably.
A week, yes.
Yeah. And so what have you done so far?
So far, we've kind of we really took our time to rest our bodies last week.
Yeah.
From like 2 months of kind of nonstop activity. So we did a lot of resting, and we went to Pike Place Market, which was very easy to get to and it was, we just took a short amount of time to do that. We went to Bainbridge Island, which is beautiful. And we've just done a few local hikes.
Yeah. Awesome.
I accidentally ran into our patron, Emily, while we were hiking one day on a beach.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, it was.
That is so
All
amazing.
of a sudden, I heard my name from far away. And I was like, who knows me? But that was so exciting. I can't even tell you. It was so exciting.
Yeah. So. Well, she might have been on the lookout for you because she knew you were in town. So she wasn't that surprised to see you, but.
True. And I just have to say, if you are in the Seattle area, I am planning a meetup. So so follow us on Instagram, follow Homeschool Unrefined on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll see it.
I am jealous. I might fly out for that.
You should.
No,
would you?
I mean, I'm all talk. I probably wouldn't. I want to. I love Seattle, and I love meeting our listeners. So
yeah,
I really want to.
Oh
yeah. So that's awesome. I'm happy for you. Right. And from here, you're going south.
We're going south down the West Coast. Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, super excited. Seattle is just beautiful. Like I said in one of my Instagram posts, I think it was on my personal Instagram. Seattle is literally a breath of fresh air. And I think that just really sums up Seattle. It's literally fresh air. And it's also just it feels so calming and so restful, and it's just wonderful. It's beautiful.
I think I like it because it's mild temperatures. There's water, and there's mountains. It's got everything
in one. Yeah, exactly. Anywhere you are, you could probably see waters and mountains and beautiful trees. I mean, just the most beautiful trees.
Yeah. And good culture.
Yeah.
All that.
Yes. Lots of just so much. It's just wonderful. So.
All right, let's move on to what's saving our homeschool. This is a little mini series. I guess we could call it a mini series that we're doing for a few episodes. We're each going to talk about something that is saving our homeschool right now because these are like I always want to hear this from other people.
Me too.
So I think on Instagram, we are asking people to share what's saving their homeschool. I love reading those because I need these little tips and tricks. So
yes, I agree. And I think especially like we talked about, especially at the beginning of the year when you're kind of getting your footing, I feel like every year we kind of have to recalibrate our footing here and figure out what's working again. So this is a good time to have these conversations.
Definitely. And I feel like I can always come up with one or two things that's really, really saving us right now. And so if everybody just shared their one or two things,
right,
we could have like a whole wealth of knowledge. So
seriously.
All right, Maren, let's start with you.
Okay, sure. So what is working great for me right now, and I think really is saving our homeschool, is, and maybe this is because of traveling and I've just been so tired, I have not had the desire to read aloud, which is very interesting because it's always been my favorite part of homeschooling. It's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I wanted to start homeschooling. But it kind of became not that fun for all of my kids to sit down and listen to me read. So we have been listening to an audiobook all together. So the four
Mm.
kids and me in the morning, instead of me reading, we're just listening to an audiobook. And there is something just different enough to make it just wonderful for us. And I don't even know if I could put my finger on it exactly.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, yeah, okay, so maybe I can, let me see if I can break it apart though.
Yes.
I feel like number one, I feel less stressed out because I I am kind of relaxing along with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a big part of it. And maybe it's just all the traveling and stuff. Like I said, like there are stressful times, and I feel like this is like a good decompression time for all of us now, not just the kids.
Right.
So, and then secondly, they see me actively listening. And
Mm.
I think that was maybe a component that was they were needing. They
Mm.
needed a good example of what active listening looks like. And so I am doing, all the things that I would love for them to do while we read, sketch, or do like the sticker book thing that we have, or you know
Yeah.
folding laundry. I mean, they're just little things that to do while I'm listening, and I'm listening. They can tell I'm listening. I'm reacting to the story. Sometimes we pause and talk about it, and so I feel like they needed to know that I was like as interested in this book maybe as they
Yeah.
are, or
Yeah.
something. You know what I mean? And then also there are just so many great narrators out there. They're better than me.
Yeah.
And some of these longer books, I think they're just kind of tired of listening to me that long, to be honest. So all of that put together, I think, is just making it like a really sweet time for us in the mornings.
That's great.
Yeah,
So, are you playing this on a speaker in the living room?
I am. Yes.
Okay. And
Yep.
are all four of your kids listening, or do some wander in and out? And does that bother you?
Yeah. And so this is interesting because what was happening is more and more kids were wandering in and out as I was reading when I was doing read aloud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard for me because
Yeah.
I want them to be in the room. And so I kind of let it go sometimes or whatever. But now I feel like that's just not happening. It's not an issue anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah. Everybody's just hanging out now.
Interesting. I wonder too if it's has a little bit to do with the fact that you're not in your own house.
I wonder.
Because what are they going to go find? Or, like they don't have all
Sure.
their regular stuff
Yeah.
to go.
That could be it.
Yeah. I don't know. And then,
And the layout, especially of this house,
mm,
is just a little bit more conducive for that. Like people could be in the living room or dining room or even kitchen and be able to listen.
mm,
So like those are the main areas too. Like in our old house, there were walls and it was harder to hear
yeah.
from the living room. And so this is just like it's a little bit more open.
Yeah.
So I think that does help for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Did you bring a nice speaker?
I just brought our Amazon Tap.
Oh, you did. Okay. That's a nice
Mhm.
one. Yeah.
It's a nice one. Yeah. I don't think they make them anymore.
I have one. It's great. You know what? I just had a light bulb moment. I need to bring my Amazon Tap upstairs. That's another story, but I just
Yes.
had a light bulb moment about that. Okay.
I know. Those Amazon Taps, they don't want you to have them because they don't automatically start listening to you.
You can probably get one used. An Amazon Tap, it's like the
Probably.
Echo, but you have to
Yep.
press the button to say something to it, to talk
Yes.
to Alexa or Siri or whoever it is. And rather than just yelling at it, which that's the reason I got rid of my Echo. I
I
cannot
know.
handle kids and everybody yelling at the Echo.
All day long. I could not imagine. Oh my goodness.
But I miss the speaker
Yeah,
function
for
of
sure.
it. I miss being able to play something really easily on it. And so now I don't know why I just had this light bulb moment. Bring the tab. I have a tab.
Yeah.
The kids use it sometimes, but now we can just bring it upstairs and that can be our speaker.
And the great thing about the Amazon Tap is also that it is mobile. Like it has a charging station, but you can take it off the charging station anytime and put it wherever it works for you. I just love that.
Yes. Okay. That was smart of you to bring that with. Also, when I'm reading to my kids and somebody might wander out of the room, I really take that personally. Like, I feel like I am reading to you. Why aren't you listening to me lovingly,
right.
tell you this story? Or if somebody like whispers to another one, I'm like, it's such a personal attack for me. And that's not right. But that's the way I feel. So I can imagine like listening to an audiobook, I would not feel that. That would take that away, or that pressure of like making it personal, because you're just one of them, like enjoying the story just like they are.
Right. Yes, exactly. That is a good point. I think that's great.
Yeah.
And then it also saves my voice and my capacity for reading aloud, so I can read aloud something else later. Like we just do that for a novel, for a story, but then like I can read history or something else later, and I'm not like burnt out on read aloud.
It's really smart. It's really smart.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? And this is the thing about what's saving my homeschool right now. That's what it is. Next week it might be different, and I just think right now I am just going to ride this wave, enjoy it, and I'll keep you updated.
Right. And sometimes it's just changing it up. That's all it means. Like, so if you are always listening to an audiobook, maybe it's just changing it up and like you would read it for a while, and then that would be saving you because it'd be something different. And, you all need something different. So
I could certainly come on here in a couple weeks and say that. So yeah, for sure.
Right.
All right, Angela, what is saving your homeschool now?
Okay. So I decided at the end of last summer, well, a few months ago, that when thinking about the fall, I needed to really consider outsourcing the things that were the hardest for me, or the things that gave me the most stress, especially at the beginning of the year, because I wanted to start off the year right. Yes. And I wanted to start off the year feeling good about what we were doing.
Very good.
And so I'm homeschooling 2 of my kids right now. They are 10 and 12. And I have them each in their own Brave Writer class, which it's saving me right now. It is saving me. That is
amazing.
I know we talk about Brave Writer a lot on here, and so I don't want to be redundant, but but these classes are amazing. And I think what's especially good about it is I feel like I'm teaching writing, or my kids are getting writing instruction, like the best writing instruction. They're getting the best writing instruction, and I feel comfortable and confident about that. Now, in one of the classes, I am the student. So in some of their classes, the parent is the student. Some, the child is the student.
Okay.
So in the class with my son, I'm the student, and then they're telling me what to do, and then I'm doing it.
I see.
I still have the same feeling. I feel like I'm really kicking butt at this. This is amazing. I'm doing exactly what they tell me to do, and it's working. So
sometimes you just need somebody to tell you, this is what you should do.
Yes.
Just sometimes.
Because I know myself. I don't feel like I'm a good writing teacher. That is my one area where I don't feel that confident in. And we all have those areas, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I know myself, and I know that I would start the year like with good intentions and like, really wanting to do lots of great things, and then feeling bad that I probably wasn't living up to my expectations, which is, a whole nother conversation and, issues about myself. But I feel like this eliminates that for me at the beginning of the year, which is what I need. Plus, it just gives me a model to follow for the rest of the year. These are short classes. They're like around 4 weeks, some 4 to 5, 6 weeks long. Yeah. And so this is a model for me. And then after this, I can hopefully continue on doing what they were doing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great because yeah, it does like kind of just set the tone. Number one, I think that's really great. So you're like, "Ooh, this is what really works for me and my kids." This, and okay, I'm going to keep doing this. I love that. And then number two, I always feel like when I go to those classes or I learn something, I sometimes think, I wasn't like totally messing it up. I was doing okay, at least. Like I actually start to feel good about myself after I do those things too. Because I'm like, I wasn't that off.
I know. That's so interesting because this class that I am taking with my son, the first question that the teacher asked us is, please just tell me specifically like where you're struggling in teaching writing. And so I wrote this narrative thing about where I was struggling. And I started off like, I just told my story. And as I told my story, I was like, oh, I'm actually not doing that bad.
Yeah, like, exactly.
I listed all the things we were doing and everything. And I was like, oh, I actually, now after writing this out, I feel kind of good about.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all it took was somebody asking me. So anyway, but I also wanted to say we've taken other classes in the past. We've used OutSchool and we've done some, I can't remember the name. Is it Minecraft Ed? Have you done that?
No,
like Minecraft
I have
classes?
done OutSchool, but not Minecraft.
Anyway, and I feel like any kind of outsourcing, we've also done tutoring. I just feel like when you can outsource that thing that you are not that confident in or that you really need help in, that is going to give you a boost. It's going to make you feel amazing.
Seriously. And then it feels like you get to focus on the things you actually want to focus on and just not stress about making everything work all the time. You're like, yay, like they're actually learning the stuff that I don't even want to teach. And then I get to teach the stuff I want to. Yep. So great.
Yep.
That sounds great. And I need to remember that, especially while traveling, because so much of it is online. I can do this.
You can do stuff online.
We can do this. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I if you've never taken a Brave Writer class, I highly recommend it. It is they are phenomenal. They're a little spendy, but they're worth it. I mean,
awesome.
These instructors deserve that, because it is high quality instruction.
I know you've said that several times, and I need to I've never taken a Brave Writer class online or had my kids. Yeah. So this might be the time too. I feel like, and this is a little bit off topic, my kids are 12, 10, 10, and 8. Yeah. I feel like the focus, like they're all kind of in this little bubble of ability to do stuff like that now. All of them. Like they can all like really dive deep into whatever they're interested in academically right now. Yeah. And like we could all just focus for so much longer now than then I think every year I think, wow, like we are really, compared to when we started, we can actually do stuff now. We can do really amazing.
Cool stuff. Yeah. And I have to say, too, what you could do for Brave Writer is some of the classes are family classes. So you pay one tuition and then it doesn't matter how many kids you have. It's just like because you might be the student, really, or, and then you're doing each of the things with each of your kids. That would be.
That's what I want to
do.
Really
smart. Really smart.
That'd be smart for, us families with like 4 kids.
Yeah, for sure.
You really get your money's worth there for sure.
But a lot of the classes sound so cool. I mean, like they're enticing to our kids,
Well, especially they're enticing to me. The movies class.
Oh yeah.
Hello. Yes.
My 12-year-old just did that one. That's the one she just did. And she loved it. Watch a movie and then talk about it every week. Yeah. It was exciting.
And how awesome to like open their minds up to like that is connected to writing. Yeah. Like that is connected to writing. Yeah. It's not a painful activity.
Yeah. Right. I know.
It doesn't have to be. So I'm so excited that you're doing that. And I think this is a really good time for you. I know you've had such a busy fall.
We have.
You've had such a busy fall, and how great that you had this in your back pocket.
For sure. Otherwise, writing would have gone to the wayside.
Yeah, for sure. And that would have been okay, too. That would have been okay.
Yeah, it would have.
Sometimes that just happens.
Yeah.
But how awesome for them that they got to do that.
I agree. Yeah, it's great. All right. So we have put out some classes. If you listened to our episode last week, you heard us talk about it. If you've followed us on social media, you've probably heard. We are really excited because we just released our homeschool and personalities package of classes.
Mm-hmm.
These are video classes. You can also do the audio, and we talk about different personality frameworks in each one. So the first is an
Yep.
intro. We also talk about Myers-Briggs. We talk about Enneagram, and we talk about four tendencies. And, we've talked about them a little bit on our podcast before, but this is where we got to go really deep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was really, really fun to record and really fun to talk about.
And each class comes with a PDF of questions and activities that will help you kind of think through everything that we're talking about. And you can take these classes and listen to 10 minutes at a time if that's what all you're ready for, because there's so much in each class. You're going to get a lot out of these classes. We love talking about personalities. We've been talking about personalities for 20 years. and
Yep.
and this is like you're in on all those conversations. I hope you really enjoy it. And they're so affordable. $30 for 4 classes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we really made this affordable for anybody who's interested in this. It's not only interesting, but it is going to make your homeschool more unique, positive. You're going to have a better relationship with your kids, and they're going to know themselves better. You're going to know yourselves better. There's just so many benefits to studying personalities, especially in homeschool.
Definitely. I feel like, and I probably said this, I don't know, in an episode or in one of the classes, I can't remember. I just feel like it's the perfect fit because, when you are a homeschool parent, the best thing you can do is know yourself and know your kids. And then when you do, you can make your homeschool be reflective of that and be playing to everyone's strengths.
Yes.
So that you all enjoy it and look forward to it and get a lot out of it. And so that's what we're hoping to do with these classes.
Absolutely. And we've really believed that for so long. And now we're doing something about it. We were able to actually do these classes, and I hope you enjoy them and get a lot out of them. We would love your feedback too. For sure.
Definitely. So next, we are giving you a little glimpse into one of the classes. Mm-hmm. This is a clip from our Myers-Briggs class, and it's about, I think, 12 to 13 minutes long, and it is our conversation on the sensing and intuitive pairing. And just a little background, this was the hardest for me to understand when I first was learning about personalities. Mm-hmm. And so Maren and I have a really good conversation about it. So if this has been something that has been kind of hard for you to understand, hopefully this will be helpful to you. And then if you are interested in learning more about the classes, we have links and everything in the show notes or on our website.
Yes, for sure.
And we will come back after the clip for our Loving This Week's. All right. Should we talk about S and N?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have to say, the S and N pairing is probably the most challenging, I think, for people. I would say probably most people who are coming to the Myers-Briggs find it challenging to discover the
identify.
Or maybe like the test tells them what they are, but they're like, I don't really know what that means. Mm-hmm. I think especially sensors have a hard time knowing what intuitive is. I mean, we know what intuitive is. I mean, I'm a sensor, and I know what intuitive means and is. And I feel like, I have intuition.
Sure, you do. And you do.
I do. Yeah, because we both have both. Yeah. But I think it was hard for me to grasp what really is the difference between these two, because when I look at these, you have this great graph that you found about these keywords. Yeah. Sensors need facts, down to earth, practical, 5 senses. I just think when I see I always saw the term takes in information through their 5 senses as something
and
I think everybody does that, right? I mean, I know you're an intuitive, Maren. Yeah. I know you are using your 5 senses. Yes. So that doesn't mean anything to me. It was really hard for me to grasp.
It's so interesting because when I first read that, I was like, yes.
Yeah. You probably feel like, oh, somebody gets me.
Oh yeah.
They're saying me ideas, dreams, theory, like, oh, that's me.
Yes.
And somebody's naming it.
And when I see the 5 senses over on the S side, I think, yes, that is accurate. And, to you, you're like, that's what we, I mean, it's the 5 senses, which it makes sense that we all do take in the 5 senses. We've been learning that since, we were little. Right. But like we've talked about this before. Like I've said, for me, when I take in the 5 senses, I don't take them even necessarily literally, if that even makes sense. But like, for example, if I feel a breeze, a cool breeze, I don't know, what would a sensor, if they,
I would say, oh, that feels great. Sure. I love that breeze. That feels amazing.
Yes. And I would be like, this feels like when I haven't had any emotional support for 3 days, and then finally somebody comes to me and asks me how I'm doing, and then there's like this cool breeze, like, or something, a relief.
Yeah.
Or it reminds me of this time. I mean, like I could write a story about a cool breeze.
And I'm just thinking, thanks for cooling me off.
Yeah, right. Nice. Like it's just like an iceberg sometimes, I think, for an intuitive person. Like one little thing could be just like, you can go, it's not anything that's actually happening necessarily. So,
right.
And so when you're a child who is an intuitive person, I'll just take that right now because I'm kind of on this, but like, an intuitive child might need less structure,
like less concrete,
maybe less even direct teaching, and then the child like answering answering questions to the information they learned. That's just like, it's not their playground. It's not where they thrive. They will do that if they have to, and some kids can step that up better than others. But for them, for an intuitive child, they might need, and it depends on everybody's different, but they might need more open-ended learning time. So that might be YouTube videos on World War II or something, or what that meant, like why did World War II start, and who, I don't know, like what's the underlying issues here and stuff like that, rather than even maybe just the actual war. Or it might be like, I need time to create, to have art. I just need to be very creative. I need open-ended. I need to pretend a lot. I need to have what if questions, meaning like, what if, like my kid, I mean, we've had so many questions like this with my intuitive children. Like, what if the sun stopped shining? Oh, what would happen? Or like, I don't know, just like, what if this happened? What if this happened? It's not about accuracy necessarily. It's about ideas.
This is reminding me of when I was a kid, and I didn't think about this till now, but I was terrible at pretending. I remember I had friends who like wanted to play Barbies.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, what do you do? I can take the clothes off and put them back on.
If you want.
What else do we do?
Yeah.
I felt silly being like, and now we're gonna I knew you could do that, but I felt so silly doing it. Like, it just wasn't my thing. Like,
so that's funny because I actually felt like I didn't like Barbies either as a kid.
Okay. Well, that's just one example.
But I mean, Barbies for a different reason.
Oh, okay.
Like, I could definitely get into that world, but but I did it in different ways. So yeah, for sure. Yes.
I mean, so looking at my kids now, I think like, I for sure one who is super imaginative, creative, has, very, like needs that imaginative world. I can see that. I can see that clearly.
Yes.
A couple of them I'm not quite sure yet, but
Mm-hmm. I remember reading in the book Nurture by Nature, which we'll put on your notes, in your notes there. But I remember reading about an intuitive, a child who might, and this is all about children in the Myers-Briggs.
The Nurture by Nature.
Nurture by Nature book. And they said, like, does your child look at clouds and say, oh, that looks like, you know, a bunny, and then, and like they could tell a story about what's happening in the clouds or something, like, or, you know, like things that aren't actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
They're perceiving.
They're imagining things.
Right. Like they can see it in their own way. Or
and again, we're all both. So like, I still have an imagination. I still, you know, can create stuff. I'm still creative. We're all creative, but it's funny. This was hard for me to understand at first. Now that I know, now that I get it, it's almost like I can't unsee it.
Right. Yeah. And and this is another one, a rabbit trail. Like you could, the more you read about it and talk with other people about it, you'll see it in everything. It's like, you know, when you get a certain kind of car and then you see it everywhere.
Yeah, that's what this is for me.
That's what, for sure.
I have to say too, now this is just my experience as a censor, and I don't know if other censors feel this way or felt this way, or if this will ring true. And I'm not saying this is the case for all censors, but in school for me, reading like literature was so challenging. Like I just didn't get it. Like, just tell me what happened. Tell me what happened in the story. What happened? And then what happened next? Like, I'm supposed to read into this and answer your deep questions and get them right. Like, what answer do you want? I just
tell me what you need.
I had such a hard time with this. Now, I think also, like, for me at least, that was, my brain wasn't fully developed yet.
Right.
Because now that I'm an adult, I can read literature and understand it and get it.
Totally.
Like, I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about, you know?
Yeah.
But as a 12, 15, 18-year-old kid, I did not. And I, like, understanding poetry, super hard for me. Like,
which is so interesting, because I have to tell you, when I remember I avoided like research and writing classes in high school. Avoided them. And you know, everybody's like, you should take that if you're in college. And I was like, I think I'm good. I just avoided it because I felt the same way about the research class.
I can see that.
Like, I can't do research and writing, and I just don't want to. Why would I do more of something that I hate doing?
Yeah.
And so, but when I took my literature classes, and even when I was a senior, I had an independent study where I got to just talk to a teacher about novels. It opened up a world of learning that I didn't know was there. Like, when you just get to read a book and talk about the ideas in the book. It wasn't even a class about like answering what happened in the book, because I hated that too. As an intuitive, I'm like, why do you care if I remember all this stuff? So as an intuitive, if somebody's asking me, what is the symbolism of this? I'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And go deeper. I mean, I understand that. Like, I totally understand that. I remember feeling the same way about creative writing. There's the option to take creative writing, and
and that was my favorite. I loved creative writing.
And I remember you were talking, I don't know, yesterday or the day before, just randomly, about how, like, in music lessons, you wanted to be able to improvise.
Yes.
You didn't want to have to, like, follow the notes.
Yes, exactly.
And that is so weird to me. Like, I remember, I remember where I was in piano lessons when the teacher said, oh, why don't you just improvise? And I was like,
what?
I don't even know how I would do that. Like, it's so foreign.
Yeah, I know. And it can even be hard for an intuitive to figure that out, because if you've never been taught to do that.
I think it's just really important as teachers. And I'm discovering this as I'm talking, which is what this is about for me. Just to realize that there are different kinds of people. And, if you're trying to teach everyone to improvise or everyone to read notes, that might not work for everyone.
Right, exactly. Which is it. it's maddening that like, you know, everybody's evaluated on a certain, a few certain things.
Yeah.
And so it's really tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
So I know we talked a lot about intuitives, and so what do you think kids who are sensors need most in their learning in homeschool?
I feel like a lot of the things we've already talked about, like facts, information, research, organization, description. Probably all those words are like, you're like, oh. Details. Yeah, they're into. I am super detail oriented, and I know now.
Yeah,
that's. I think I'm extreme. And I didn't realize that before. I thought everybody was. I know. When we work together, and I'm sure you're sometimes annoyed by my detailedness.
Well, if I am, it's just because, well, like I've told you this. Like sometimes you ask me a detailed question, I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking. I don't even know what the question. Honestly,
I know,
but it's not. I'm glad you do that because we need that.
Yeah.
We certainly do. We certainly need that. I'm glad you asked the question because I wasn't going to ask it.
Yeah.
You know? So it's great, and I think this bottom one cannot be understated either. Like the sensors really focus on. Sorry, did you see that?
No.
I got a text and it went on my screen. So I'm like,
didn't see it.
Okay. Yep. Sensors really focus on past and present, and intuitors focus on the future. And I think it's different. And I think it's such a good balance to have both of those.
It's a good distinction to make. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So let's ask the question, as a sensor or intuitive, how can you help your children process information and the world? Because this is really how we go through the world, how we see the world. And just to have language, or just to know what questions to ask your kids. Maybe you've thought of, just a way to communicate with them.
Or just maybe you're having an aha moment like right now, like, oh, I'm a sensor and not all of my kids are. Or I'm an intuitive and I have a sensor child. So it's just, I think just knowing is so powerful.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Let's move on to loving this week.
All right. Angela, what are you loving this week?
Okay. I've had a little bit of stress and anxiety creep in on me with some situations in the last few weeks. And I know that is common for a lot of us.
Yes.
And so I have been using these drops from Calma Mama.
Oh my.
Okay. So I found these a few years ago and I've kept them on hand for any time I feel a little bit of anxiety creeping up. And I take some drops and then the anxiety goes away. Now,
what?
I don't know if this is the placebo effect. It might be. But
it doesn't matter.
No. I feel calm when taking these. So for me, anxiety feels, I know it's different for everybody, but for me, it feels like a restlessness kind of in my chest. Yeah. Kind of like I drank a bunch of coffee. I'm like nervous and anxious kind of. So like I just need to feel calm, right? Or I'm like, what is going on? Why do I feel this way? So when I take some of these drops, I take them probably, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a day when I'm feeling this way. And it really, really does help.
Wow, that is awesome. And they're drops. So you just put them in your mouth? Or?
Yep. They're organic, like made from plant extracts, all natural.
Awesome.
So the brand is called Calma Mama. And then there's like, probably 4 or 5 different types. And then I get the brand is Calma Mama. And then the type I get is Calm Drops. So there's other kinds. I get them on Amazon.
Yeah. Okay.
Get them on Amazon. Great. It's $16.99 on Amazon. So it's affordable. Okay. So if you have felt anxiety, but you, I don't know, it's just a nice natural way to help you with your like nervous, anxious thoughts, basically.
Oh my gosh.
They have other ones for like sleep and I don't know, attention or things like that. But this is the one for stress and anxiety, which it's the only one I've tried. But I've been using them for 3 years, and I really love them. I use them when I'm flying.
So, wow, yes.
So right before I'm flying, I take some. Yep. Do you see me doing that with some drops?
Well, I knew you were taking something, but I didn't know what it was. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So I just keep it in my backpack and I pull it out and I take a few drops. Yep. And so I really, really love them. And so we will put them in the show notes, a link to them in the show notes, and probably in our Amazon shop too.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. All right, Maren, what are you loving this week?
I am loving a travel mug that I got from Target. Before we started traveling, I wanted to get a travel mug that was going to work for me in our travels, that would fit in my cup holder. Super important.
Yeah.
And this one is everything I want it to be right now.
Okay.
It's from the company called Ello, ELLO. And this travel mug is it's smaller. It's 10 ounces maybe. So it's not a huge coffee mug or travel mug. Most of them are really big.
Yeah.
And I like the size. So it fits in the cup holder. And also it's as much coffee as I want. I don't want more than that. If I have a big travel mug, I might fill it up and I don't want to drink that much coffee.
Okay.
So this is great. And then also I love it because the top is just the perfect, it's so wonderful. It's I've had travel mugs in the past that almost, I don't know, they almost vacuum close the cup. So it's stays so hot
that
I continuously can't drink it. This one, at least it lets some of the heat out, but also it saves just enough heat for me, which I love. And the open close thing is just, it actually works. It is super easy to use. It, all those little things that seem like something you might not notice right away when you pick up a travel mug in the store, which I didn't. I just picked this up.
Yeah.
But all those little details are just making this my favorite. I use it at home now.
Oh.
I just use it as my mug at home because it keeps my coffee warmer longer, and I just like it. I like the size of it. I like the feel of it. And it's just perfect right now.
That's awesome. I just looked it up because I had to see what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks cool too.
It looks cool.
Do you have the black gold one or the white one?
I have the white one.
The white one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. With black splatter
with dots.
paint.
Yeah.
Yes.
Splatter paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're only using this for your coffee, basically.
I really am just only using it for my coffee. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can bring it around, to coffee shops and have them fill it up too, which
nice.
I've done a few times. Yeah. I know our friend, we have a friend who does that all the time, which I've been I need to do that. So I'm not using all those paper cups. I forget most of the time, but when I have it, I use it.
Yeah.
And nice. I feel good. I feel good about that.
Yeah. That's awesome. All mugs should just fit in your cup holder in your car.
Right? I know.
Don't make a mug anymore that doesn't. Mug makers.
Exactly. I'm talking to you, mug makers. No, it's true. You're right.
They have to. Otherwise, I can't use it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is wonderful.
That's awesome.
If you're looking for a new travel mug, this is the one.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. If you have not found us on social media, you can do that. We're at Homeschool Unrefined on Facebook and Instagram. We also have a closed Facebook group that we'd love to have you join called Unrefined Homeschoolers. And we have a website where you can find links to everything that we talked about and our show notes and our classes and everything, which is homeschoolunrefined.com. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Ethan Miller is our editor, and Amanda Ginn is our VP of all the important things.